Hello, hobby friends, and welcome to today's episode of Hobby Talk. My name is David Baez, and today we are going to kick 2021 off with our good friend Kurt Christensen, and we're going to talk about the world of wrestling cards. I'm really excited about this one. So, Kurt, welcome back again to Hobby Talk. It's always great to talk to you. How are you?
I'm good. So happy New Year and fun way to start off the year with some more cards.
Yeah, same to you, but it's always great talking. And now we're going to get into wrestling. So, I'm really intrigued by this. It's been a while since I'm an old school wrestling guy, but I do know that the hobby, just like every other card hobby, is hot. So I figured let's start off with a 101, right? Can you give us the viewers a 101 on the history of wrestling cards? When did it begin and how did it evolve?
Yeah, who would have thought that we'd be sitting here talking about wrestling? Of all the things that topics we could be talking about, you would have not thought would have been one of them. But like a lot of things, it's really hot right now and pretty fun. So the brief history. Once again, like a lot of things, you can trace back some sort of wrestling card varieties all the way back to the 50s.
Really?
Kind of some niche type stuff. I found a set from 1952. It was called AL Halves. If you go to eBay Solds and AL Halves, you'll find some wrestling cards graded. They're not worth much. No big names or anything in there, but goes all the way back to 52. I would say the first card that maybe a lot of people are looking for is in a 55 set is 55 Parkhurst Wrestling. So we've heard the Parkhurst name before.
Yeah.
So there's a 55 Parkhurst Wrestling set, and there's a Buddy Rogers card in there. That would be looks like a lot of collectors are after. Recent sale on there to give you a little history. In December 27th, a PSA 6 Buddy Rogers, which is the top pop from that card, sold for about $500.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was impressed. I looked at some other of the wrestlers in that set, and not a lot of other value, but the Buddy Rogers card was pretty valued.
Yeah, that was the big name, right?
Yeah.
That's really cool. So 50, I mean, you blew my mind there. 52, 55s. I really didn't think it went that far back.
And then, we've seen I know you know this, the exhibit baseball cards.
Yes.
In the 50s and 60s, there were exhibits. Well, they had wrestling exhibits as well.
Interesting.
Not overly popular, not a lot of names people recognize, but they are out there. And that same trend through the 50s, late 50s, 60s, early 70s, there's like some Japanese type varieties and some odds and ends that were in there. That gets us to 1974, when I think might be the first major recognizable wrestling card. That would be hopefully I'm saying this right, 1974 Yamakatsu New Japan Pro Wrestling cards, and there's 2 Andre the Giants in there.
Yes, I remember that one.
Yep. So that's, I would say, the first big mainstream recognizable card where most people, if they're not wrestling, collectors, would recognize those Andre the Giant cards.
And there was 2 different variations in that set, you were saying?
Yes, there's a number, I got them written down here. There was a card number 25 of the set and card number 29. So there's 2 Andre the Giant cards in that set. And, we like talking prices right now. I just looked these up. A PSA 9 in June of this year sold for about $800.
Wow.
And a PSA 7 of the other card in November this year, so just a couple months ago, went for $850.
Wow.
So there's some value there. And,
yeah, for sure.
And when I looked at the correlation now, not a lot of sales data because these are still fairly rare, but a 9 went for $800 in June, and a 7 went for $850 in November. So that could be a little bit of uptrend there.
Yeah, that's interesting. I've heard of the set, and I knew the Andre the Giant because he's just had that cult following.
Yeah.
I imagine there's a couple probably other names on there, but I would imagine that's like the Babe Ruth of that set, if you will, like the one everyone goes for.
Correct. Then we're going to get there's one other one in that set that it's not quite wrestling, but guys are going to know this and want to hear it. There's a combo card of Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris.
Oh, that's real cool. I didn't know that.
I did not know that either until I dug a little deeper. There's a couple other Bruce Lee cards in there, but the Bruce Lee Chuck Norris combo, an SGC 7.5 in that same time frame, November-ish, sold for $1,200.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a card I have to put on my list. I actually would be interested in owning that.
So yeah, Bruce Lee, Chuck Norris combo. So, kind of some good stuff. Where the wrestling heads next to is what I would say is, the first mainstream and the most valuable cards we get to is the 1982 Wrestling All-Star set.
Okay.
And this would have, these were kind of unique. It was not a licensed product yet. We're not into the Topps and O-Pee-Chees yet. But 82 Wrestling was a set. There was a Series A and a Series B set, or some people call it Series 1 and Series 2. And you had to order or get so many proofs of purchase from the magazine, send it in, and then they sent you the set. And what's key about
it was only available in full sets. You couldn't get them in like cellos or anything like that.
No pack, no racks. It was, they sent you a set. They sent you an A set or a B set.
Got it.
And what's big about these is this is the first Hulk Hogan card. So we see that yellow card, not very good graphics, but this is the Hogan card. Some values on these. Now, I've known these for a while have been very popular, even before we've seen this boom. I know a lot of collectors who are diehard 82 Wrestling set collectors. However, this is going to be a shocker to you. And my jaw dropped when I saw this sale. So get a load of this. December 30th of this year.
So not too long ago.
No, in a PWCC auction, the card was a PSA 9. I should first say there are no 10s of Hogan or Andre the Giant from 82 Wrestling. No 10s.
Okay.
Very few 9s. So conditions tough. But it was a PSA 9, and the card was autographed. Hulk Hogan sold for $36,000.
What?
36 grand.
Whoa. I need to dig around my shoebox. I might have some of these.
I saw that sale, and that was the jaw went to the floor.
36 grand. Oh my God.
For a Hogan autograph. And the card was a 9. But this shouldn't be surprising now. Again, not a lot of recent comps, but a base PSA 9, no autograph, in April of this year sold for $4,000. The wrestling market from April to now is double or triple. I can't imagine what a base Hogan would bring now. I bet it's in $10,000 territory.
I was gonna say it's probably gonna hit 5 figures at this point for sure, especially with that auto hitting 30. Was it 36K? You said.
Yeah,
that's amazing. That's amazing, Kurt. I mean, no shocker. The hobby's going trending north everywhere, with including wrestling, of course. But to see those numbers explode like that is shocking. And I know wrestling's extremely popular and still is. But just to see the vintage market reacting that way is to me is a jaw dropper.
Yeah. Andre the Giant is also in that set. And Andre the Giant is also, was a $5,000 card in a 9. I'm guessing that could be 10 figures now too. And also the very first Ric Flair card is in there. That's the other popular one from 82 Wrestling. Which now, this is going to bring us to what, we all know and we deal with more regularly is the Topps and O-Pee-Chee issues, the first licensed wrestling product, which of course is 1985. When Topps made their first wrestling brand. And we have seen these things like a lot of things. I had an 85 wrestling box, Topps, I want to say in that February, March range I bought. I think I purchased that box for like $350. And we broke that box on my weekly rips.
Right.
It was under $15 a pack, very popular. Now we look at 85 Topps wrestling boxes and they're $2,000 or more.
Oh, wow. Now, are they, would you classify those, Kurt, as like, I don't know, maybe on a 1 to 10 scale in terms of scarcity, those 85s are, how tough are they?
They're quite tough. I've never myself located one on a buy or, from, a storage sale or anything like that. They don't surface a ton. They're pretty tough. Even tougher, though, is the 85 O-Pee-Chees,
Yeah.
which I guess we shouldn't be surprised of. O-Pee-Chee
Right.
is tougher. But those are extremely tough. The values in those and the actual cards, as we would suspect, have gone up significantly as well. There's Hogan cards in there. There's Andre the Giant's. Topps has the first Jesse Ventura card. There's Jimmy Snuka. There's just a lot of, we're getting to the names that, people recognize.
Yeah. Yeah, I would think, because I mean, as soon as you started mentioning, the 85s, all those names are definitely in my wheelhouse because, I was a mid 80s wrestling kid. So, I imagine there's, the Greg the Hammer Valentines and the Paul Orndorffs and all that.
I have a few 85 items here
Cool.
because this is popular to us all. I purchased, and again, you can say timing is everything, and this wasn't any foresight I had. It was just fluke luck. But there was a guy that had a opened 3-box 85 wrestling rack case on eBay forever. I mean, it was there for over a year. And I knew these things were rare. And I just remember messaging him, all the time. It wasn't selling. And he finally got a hold of my website, and, we couldn't figure out a deal. I don't remember what we were, even negotiating for price. And he finally, sometime in March, emailed me. He says, I'm finally ready to take your offer. So I bought an 85 wrestling 3-box rack case. Well, not very long after that, the whole thing blew up, and that ended up
He's
being,
probably messaging you like, I want it back.
but here we go. I pulled a few racks. Again, this case wasn't sealed, but here's a couple 85 wrestling racks, and you see right there with the Hulk Hogan sticker in the middle.
That is awesome.
You see, the case wasn't sealed. There's the original price sticker.
A Toys R Us. There you go.
That they had on it. There's one with Andre the Giant sticker.
Very cool. So the stickers are always in that center cell, it looks like.
They are.
Yeah.
Another Hogan sticker. And we've broken a few of these rack packs on my YouTube channel, and they vary between 3 to 4 stickers per cell.
Okay. George the Animal Steel. Oh, man, you're bringing back some memories here.
Another Hogan sticker, and this one's kind of cool. Here's a couple of the Hogan cards on each end.
That is cool. Very nice.
Not the big dog. So the big dog Hogan cards would be the card number 1 from the set and the card number 16 from the set, are the more iconic cards. But Hogan has a lot of variations in there, and there are a couple.
So that's what I was going to ask you. I can only imagine there's got to be at least 20 variations of Hogan in the set, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure the exact number, but it's considerable. He's got some in these TV cards, and then action poses. His 2, what I would call his base cards, the ones that sell for the most. So he's got 2 of them: card number 1 of the set and 16 of the set. But just for example, those cards are exploding in value. A couple of recent sales of card number 1 and a 9 went for $900.
Okay.
And card number 16 and a 9 went for about $500.
Very cool.
There are a few tens of those. Who knows what those would bring?
I imagine the O-Pee-Chee, is probably even higher, right? Because of the low pop, or
yeah. So the O-Pee-Chee thing, it got difficult because it's more rare. Comps aren't out there. The closest prices I could find on the Hogan number 1 card was a PSA 8 in December for about $450.
Okay.
So yeah, I would expect the 9, would be over the $900 that the Topps went for.
So it looks like wrestling suffers from the same anomaly as baseball with the O-Pee-Chee head scratching price disparity. Yeah, yeah. I've always wondered why certain like, wow, O-Pee-Chee's so much harder, but why it's worth less or the same, right? But no, great stuff. So now we're in 85, right? Now I imagine this evolution takes like a big turn north, right? As we get into the later years and into the junk wax era.
Yep. We go to 87, and 87 mirrors 85, but we think of 87, we think of quantity. And 87 Topps and 87 O-Pee-Chee wrestling. There's a lot more of it out there.
Yeah.
You can find a lot of it. Boxes show up regularly, but it's the same old story. These things have taken off like crazy. At the last national we had 2019 in Chicago, I bought and owned several cases of 87 wrestling. And I remember I was trying to sell boxes for $50 at that show. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if I brought 8-10 boxes. And you cut some deals. Maybe I sold some for 40 or $50. These boxes now, we're seeing sales at $600-$700.
Wow.
For 87 wrestling.
Yeah, wow, that's nuts. You might have to strongly consider trading some porcelain cat boxes now for that.
If only we could get porcelain cats to $700, we could be talking.
Gold mine. No, that's crazy. To your point, it's these numbers. Again, I shouldn't be shocked. It's happening in every sport. So why not wrestling being so popular, right? Post 87, what's that environment like with wrestling?
Yeah, there's one other kind of fun 80s issue is 88 Wonder Mania, NWA, WCW.
Okay.
Boxes are, again, expensive, $500 or so a box.
That's their debut for that. I'm sorry, that's their debut for.
Yes, to my knowledge. And then that gets us to, there was a Ric Flair card in the 82 Wrestling Stars, but Ric Flair is not in the Topps, 85 or 87 Topps. There's a Ric Flair card in the 88 Wonder Mania Wrestling. I think that pushes the value of that box or that set.
Yeah. Yeah, that might, for some people, that might be considered like his rookie, or at least for that association, right?
Yeah, because it was an actual, release. But then we move into, the junker type stuff, and there's like 91 Impel Wrestling. There's several of those Impels and brands to the 90s, but once again, this Impel Wrestling, this stuff used to be garbage. I had several boxes in on a large non-sport buy I made a few years ago. I remember not wanting the stuff because you look at eBay, it wasn't even worth a couple bucks a box.
$4.
Yeah. I brought some to a couple nationals in 17 and 18, and nothing, they did sell. You had $5 a box and they didn't sell. Just garbage.
Sorry to reference the porcelain cats again, but I'm shocked that didn't sell. But the porcelain cats were flying off the shelf.
Can't explain it. But you go and look now, and these Impel boxes are $40-$50.
Wow. And that was some, and I remember that actually. I remember my father actually buying me some packs of those. Those were ridiculously overproduced cards.
And they're not good looking either.
No. Yeah. So it's just $40 to $50 is definitely a premium price for that product.
I think that just shows, how popular the hobby as a general is right now, and how popular wrestling is.
Yeah.
We of course can move through the 90s and early 2000s with wrestling issues, but I wanted to bring up one more, a little modern era type stuff. I'm sure you've heard of this before, seen it, but 2013 Topps UFC, I'll still consider UFC little wrestling, but there's the Conor McGregor rookie autograph in that set is sold in December for $8,000.
What? Wow. So that was I'm glad you brought that up. So with the MMA piece, that was like the big inaugural, let's call it, trading card set.
Yeah, I know there was a 2012 set as well, a UFC set. Ronda Rousey is in that set. And
Okay.
her autographs are quite valuable as well. I'm not sure if 13 or 12 is the inaugural, but it's real close.
Yeah.
Um, and we know how popular, that sport is. And
Yeah.
those products, including wrestling, modern, those modern products and new releases, they're all, I mean, they don't sit around the shelves. They sell.
Yeah, they sure do. And yeah, I won't get into the weeds too much on modern, but I would say that, just hopping around, the different groups in Facebook, I definitely have noticed, let's call it ultra modern, like, present day 20, let's call it 2015 up to now, that there are some issues out there and very specific. It's like, the Women of Wrestling series and this and that series. And it's like, obviously I know very little about it, but to see that realm exists in the world of wrestling, just like it does in sports and Star Wars and other, to have the autos and the refractors, if you will, just a testament to how popular, right, what wrestling is, because there's a vintage and there's modern, there's an ultra modern as well. So it doesn't look like it's dying anytime soon.
Well, it's not. In the little small world of Spencer, Iowa, my friend Brandon in his card shop, they get some modern wrestling in, and they sell it.
Let's talk a little bit, every time we do these kind of episodes, and, I like to call them 101 episodes, I always like to learn a little bit about, rarity, and as well as like that Honus Wagner card, as I like to call it, right? So what would you consider, you might have said it already, but just to kind of make it official, what would you consider to be the Honus Wagner of wrestling cards, and why?
I personally would think it's the 82 wrestling stars set, and wrestling all stars, and it would have to be the Hulk Hogan.
The Hogan, right? I would think either that or Andre, right?
Yeah, those are both number 1 and 2 in the set. I believe Andre is number 1. I got it here. Yeah, Andre the Giant is number 1 in that set, and Hogan is number 2. I think either of those cards in the 10, which they don't exist right now in PSA, would be, the holy grail of wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. There can't be that much product out there if you have to mail in, right, to get the set. So it's probably, I haven't looked at pop reports on this, but I'm definitely going to make a note of it to do it after this interview. But it's got to be super low pop on this.
Yeah. And if we wanted to throw a wrinkle on it, I think Andre the Giant, I think he passed away in the early 90s.
Right.
I told you the sale of the Hogan autograph 9 that went for $36,000. Could you imagine what, if there was a 9 or something of Andre that was autographed, would bring? Yeah. I bet we could be 6 figures on something like that.
You're absolutely right. Yeah. It's I'm sure it's out there, and when it surfaces, it's going to fetch some huge dollars. Very good point. So, like, in terms of we talked a little bit about the history of the cards and all that. In the world of unopened, I guess it kind of I'm assuming it parallels, right? But I imagine like the sought after boxes that maybe you're getting calls or emails on, it's the 85 set, right? The Topps and the O-Pee-Chee.
Correct. That is, for pack collectors and unopened guys like ourselves, that is the first issue that we can get our hands on.
That's the one unopened box you want to put on your shelf, right? The 85. Yeah.
And I would. So Topps had it was one issue. Topps had a one issue product. O-Pee-Chee actually had 2 series. So there was a series 1 and a series 2. Series 1
for 85. You're saying?
Yes, correct. 85.
Wow.
Series 1 is tougher and more expensive. I don't even want to predict what a box will sell for now because I haven't seen a comp in a long time.
Yeah.
Series 2 box, I'm a little more. I see those sell. Series 2 boxes are $800 to $1,000 a box. Series 1 would be easily double, probably triple. Who knows how much a Series 1 85 O-Pee-Chee box would be now. But I mean that is, the first issue, and that is what people like.
Can you imagine how many ALF cards you would have to trade to get that box?
So I would trade them all.
Oh, that's too funny. In terms of your collection, what's an item that you have, or let's not even say like just something you're looking for in the world of wrestling. What's something that's been very hard that you may have, but you might have said it already. The 85 O-Pee-Chee sounds like that's the answer to the question, but is there anything else that's that you're finding very difficult to find? What ranks highest on your list?
Yeah, so I got a picture here, and this will foreshadow what I would like to find. This is, of all the wrestling stuff I bought, this is probably the best buy I've made. I bought some sealed cases. They were final sale cases of 87 wrestling, but I have here a RVP FASC from a final sale case.
That's awesome.
I think I bought 3 or 4 of these over the years. They are out there. Everyone's been final sale because this stuff didn't sell back in the day. But that's a product that I really like, and it's still at $1 point, even as it's gone up in value. Most collectors, over time can justify a purchase to put that on their collection for wrestling. Which leads me to the territory. What would I like to find? Of course, I'd like to find an 85 Topps, wax case.
Yeah. Yeah, so a full case, and that's got to be tough. You're right, because it's just I haven't seen it.
I said earlier, I've never found a box myself, a single box on any buy or any email or anything I've ever had offered to me. I've never even had a box offered to me, let alone trying to find a case.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's interesting. And I imagine if you do get it, you're going to get a lot of calls and text messages from the wrestling fans, right?
So, and of course,
cool.
I bought that rat case, like I mentioned, that was not sealed. A sealed rat case would be the same way, would be really cool. 87 wrestling did not have racks. Just 85 did. Maybe they didn't sell enough, and I don't know. Maybe they didn't sell enough of the rack.
I would think that's it. In terms of maybe make them changing, because I was about to ask you. You mentioned O-Pee-Chee a few times on 85, but were there other O-Pee-Chee issues as well? Or no?
87. There's 87 O-Pee-Chee wrestling.
There is. Okay.
There is.
Yeah, because I would think as the years adjust and they see the sales, they probably say, all right, let's scale back here. Let's spend more time on this. So. Yeah, or if they lose a contract with like a Toys R Us or something, they say no more racks, right?
Yeah.
So, but no, that's some cool stuff. So, listen, I think to me this is great. As you can tell by my reactions and my questions, it's I had a lot to learn myself about it, and I've from the world of wrestling, I've always just been as a kid, the fan of wrestling. I knew these cards were out there. I knew some of them were very scarce. I knew a lot of them were quite pricey. But to learn what I learned today, especially that $36,000 card, my jaw just dropped. So thanks for this really good info today on wrestling. And we're gonna have to dive into this a little more, my friend. I'm curious.
We can always get blown away. There's pieces of this hobby that just make you shake your head sometimes, but it just goes to show, the depth of, the market in general.
Yeah. I think what I'm going to have to do is on one of your future rips, when I drop in to check it out, I might just buy a wrestling pack just to relive my youth, but I can't let you go unless I do what I always do in every interview here, Kurt. So I have a fun question for you if you're ready for it.
Okay.
All right. So let's fire away here. So what's the one wrestler that you admired or imitated the most as a child or even now? I won't judge. And why?
I, of course, like a lot of people, watched a little wrestling as a kid. I wasn't probably the biggest fan as some of my friends were, but I grew up in the era when when the NWO started.
Yeah.
World Order. So I remember the Hogans, and there wasn't also Steve Austin wasn't NWO, but the Steve Austins, the NWO. I remember imitating those on trampolines, doing wrestling stuff with friends, and that was quite fun when the NWA stuff came out.
To be a fly on the wall. I'm gonna have to ask Erin to see if she has any pictures of you doing that.
So if I tried to do that now, I'm sure I'd end up in the hospital with a knee or something gone amok. But when the NWO stuff came out, there was some imitations on trampolines going around.
That's too funny, man. Watch after this interview, I'm gonna get a comment from Aaron saying, "What is he talking about? He's still doing the people's elbow around the house." Very cool. Hey, Kurt. So thanks again for kicking off 2021 here with me, buddy, with some great info. And like I'm looking forward. I know we'll be doing some future interviews together, whether it's live or one of these hobby talk episodes. So thanks again, and looking forward to talking to you again real soon.
I always enjoy it. So have a good night, David.
All right, you too, buddy.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey guys, thanks for watching today's video. Please click on the like and subscribe button. Just a couple quick updates. We are officially live on iTunes, Google, as well as Spotify for our podcast. Go to HobbyNetworkGroup.com for more details and links. Thanks for watching today's video and have a great day. Bye.